Okay, hopefully that all works out. This is going to be part two. We're looking at Soulfinder Demon's Match, book by Douglas Ernst, with art by Timothy Lim and colors by Brett R. Smith. I've got my timer here. We're going to hit start. As we left off, you probably should just skip to this one, honestly. But got to give a tremendous amount of congratulations on a fantastic opening of the book. You have an eye-popping, attention-grabbing beginning, and we have on the inside flap the 6 extraordinary forms of demonic activity. Most of these will be touched in this book. My previous complaint is I think that there could be a lot more definition so that people who aren't Catholic could have an understanding of how these might affect people. I think it would make the story easier to find the stakes, how high the stakes are for all of the, for our protagonists and for the people around them. That being said, I guess we're going to get into it. I'm going to look over my notes a little bit. I've already been long-winded enough at a 20-minute start, and I'll be lucky if in this batch, the next 15 minutes or so, we get to 15 pages in. So let's get going with it. One of the things I find really interesting is that, so Father Retter, and this is Patrick Retter right here, is a warrior, is a soldier, and he is blown up in IED, and he has tremendous wounds all over his body, as you can see, caught on fire. And this, I think, is great. Not only is a striking image, but we already get a sense for hell on earth, war is hell, and the things of that would affect a person. And one of the great things about this is we start off, and I gotta say, going through this book, there are a couple things that need to be said first. I think a couple of the things that Doug does really well is that he has tremendous storytelling ability. The pacing in this is really good. It's, in my mind, highly edited, and what I mean by that is that because he chose the moments and the pacing of things, that a lot of time wasting and what I'm not good at. I waste a lot of time. But I think that there's a great efficiency and an economy in his storytelling. There's probably about 10 characters that we meet, which is a huge deal in storytelling, especially when you're crafting your own world and you have a lot of things to sort of get through to get you into the action. We start off in a great moment of action and peril for our wounded warrior here. And I'll just do a little bit of reading of this. Sorry, Doug, if you don't like what I'm doing, let me know and I'll see if I can't redo this, but I really do like your work. The Sunday school kids are asking that age-old question, Father, why do bad things happen to good people? And then we cut across, and so one of the first things, it's a little hard to see, and I will say the quality of the construction of the book is really high. But one thing I wish could be done in the upcoming pressings or whatever is that we might get a more matte finish, because it's, as you can see, extremely shiny. It does give it a presentation of high quality, and shininess does let you see into dark colors a lot more, but it's also a bit, in my mind, distracting. So maybe some compromise in the construction. But getting back to it, we have our Father Retter here. I don't know if he was ever supposed to be a chaplain. By the way, I would say that that's something doesn't, I guess, matter to the sake of the story, but at what point our Father Retter becomes a priest, I think, is maybe something worth going into, and maybe the next book will. But we find out that right here we have, it's a little hard to see, but there's a scarification sort of denoted here. So they're asking the age-old question, why do bad things happen to good people? Father, I'm sorry if I bothered you. It depends, Charlotte. Do they want the long answer, or or the short answer? They're mostly grade schoolers. Do you have a really short answer? I'll do my best. So there are 3 versions of burns here. Of course, the grade schoolers get burnt the worst, I think. Just a kid. Just kidding there. So we meet our priest, and this is something worth talking about. There's another channel who does much better versions of this than I do. Just some guy. I'll give a link at some point, but he's a really worthwhile guy to watch videos who breaks down comic books and gives great reviews and critiques. Mim Headroom was another guy I thought was really good at giving critiques and suggestions, who I would love to be more like, but I don't think he's doing it much anymore, but worth looking at for sure. But as a discussion came up, I want to point this out. The artwork, I will say, is not necessarily the artwork that I like the best, and some of the drawings in the back, I would say, by Tim Lim, I liked a little better, but is extremely functional in storytelling. I think that the camera gets moved around pretty well, and but one thing I will say is that the story is told very cinematically. I mean, you get a dramatic opening, which is great, and then you would get like a hard cut, and I could see this being filmed very much like this. And one of the reasons why that really struck me is this establishing shot. We're introduced to where Father Retter is. Oh, by the way, Retter is one who rets, and also means to save. So Father Retter, Patrick Retter, is modeled after St. Patrick, who drove out the serpents, and is named for a savior, which, again, good on you, Doug. I like it. Also, Father Crane, who we'll meet later. Crane is a symbol of spirituality, and other things. There's a lot of power in names. One of the things I appreciate that's going through here, and as I'm writing my book, I've been paying greatly a lot of attention and focus on the names that we give people for different reasons. But we get introduced to Steepleton, Maryland, population 11,467, which I gotta say, for under 12,000 people, we have a father that specializes in the occult and lots of exorcisms. This is one weird town, and I gotta say that as a chuckle, I kind of think of this as a bit being story told as like an exotic murder she wrote, where Jessica Lansbury, I forget her character's name, but after 10 years of this television series, that she never went too far without finding murder everywhere. So, my God, what's in the water, you know?